But anyway, it was hot, and Cameron got me a starter, and we burnt that one up too. I had some electrical stuff going on at the same time, but we tried, Cameron. Damn it, we tried.
We tried.
My dad was like, "That's Stan and Steve Blakegrave laying under your tractor helping you." I'm like, "Yeah, the super stock," and they said it. The super stock class is great. I mean, they do. Like Travis to go around from trailer to trailer after the pull with a beer in his hand and be like, "Schlaba," and be like, "All right, you guys okay for tomorrow? What do you need?" And then they help each other out. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, I'll shut up. You start talking, Mike.
Sorry. That's my favorite part about pulling. It actually reminds me of the story 2 years ago. Cameron, when you guys had your motor problems, and I think was it Donald called you up and said, "Hey, we got one," or vice versa. One of the two of you lent one to the other. But anywho, ladies and gentlemen, let's give him his formal introduction. Cameron Neaves, your 2024 7,400-pound outlaw truck and tractor pulling modified champion. And Cameron, we've got the world's got some exciting news because you've pulled at the Pullers Championship, and this is our Pullers Championship section of the show. But typically when you pull at the Pullers Championship, it's with this setup. Now, to the common fan, they're going to say, okay, well, that's, him at Freedom Hall, and he kicked butt there in 2024, and that's a triple engine mod. But that's not where that tractor lives and breathes. Your triple motor setup, you only run, 3, 4, maybe 5 times a year, right?
Maybe 3 at the most, yeah.
Sure. So this year, just made public like 3 or 4 days ago, the Pullers Championship has decided that they're going to run the 7,400-pound modified with the Outlaw and ITPA rules. Now, they're calling it the light mod class, and we'll talk about that because there's been some confusion. It's not the NTPA light mod class. It's kind of different, but you get to run your tractor the way God intended it with those twin Hemis sitting out there out front. Are you excited to be able to show the world, beyond, the Outlaws, to cross the river and say, hey, here's what this thing can do in its true form?
Yeah, we're very excited to get to run that class. That's our bread and butter, and that's where we're most comfortable running. We run all summer that way, that setup, and we just feel like we do a better job with 2 than 3.
Which is funny because, I almost talked myself in a circle. I got to thinking about it. You've ran with 3 engines. It's not like this tractor didn't exist in a 3-engine setup at one point. Tell us about that, and then tell us, how and when it changed, and just kind of maybe compare the two.
Well, we built this tractor in, I guess we got it in the COVID year, so it'll be 2020, and we ran it a whole year. We ran a few times that year, and then the next year we ran all season, and we decided to go ahead and apply for the farm show, and we got in, so then we added a 3rd engine, and we've done that every year since then to get to go to Louisville. In 2024, we got invited to go to the MAC the MAC national deals in Louisville, the truck show, and then we also pulled at the Pullers Championship. We've pulled 3 years at the Pullers Championship with 3 engines.
But you also ran it, I'm talking when it was triple Chevys.
Yes, but it's a totally different tractor, Mike.
So it doesn't even, so having 3 Chevys out there, it's not like sitting there saying, okay, well, 3 is 3, and I'm, it's throw that handbook out the window. That doesn't even, It
doesn't count anymore.
Do you, so you made the switch. You made the switch from the triple Chevy to the twin Hemi. Are you just, as a driver, do you like the twin Hemis way more? Is it just way more fun that way?
We do. Seems like the Hemis are quite a bit more durable than the Chevys were. And we just didn't feel like we were competing where we wanted to be with 3 Chevys.
What are you most excited about for the world to see? Let's kind of sink our teeth in this class. What maybe does the average fan not know about it, or what are you looking forward for them, when they watch this at the Pullers Championship? What should they kind of pay attention to, or what do you like best about it?
I just think that that class will put on a very good show for the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be 10 or 11 or 12 running there. And to me, it's just as exciting a class as the 3 or 4 motor deal.
It's a good horsepower to weight ratio. Now, people have kind of got confused because, you know, the TPC is labeling it the light modified class, which is fair because it is lighter than their modified class, but it's 7,400 pounds, which is significantly heavier. People think light mod and they think 6,000 pounds. So you're still coming in at very much what I would call like a modified weight. But with your twin Hemis, triple Chevys, or your industrial motors, and folks will see some of those at the Pullers Championship as well. I feel it allows you guys as the driver, your kind of like your skill of driving to take over. You get to put that power to the track and you can kind of apply what that tractor is willing to give you.
I agree. They do a good job of putting that pull on at Nashville. We're just excited to get to run our normal class there. I don't feel like outside I feel like we have a better chance of competing with 2 engines than we do the 3 against the 4.
Yeah, because you were telling me about this 3 on a 240-foot track. So like you take your 3 setup, you go up against a Bill Leichner or the Simons. When they can get out and run, on that backside. I mean, 4 is kind of more than 3, no matter how you split it, regardless of what blower you put on top of it. So you do feel that it kind of tilts the table back to those 4-engine guys. But when you can play in your own class, you're going to see, and there's a lot of, the fans are going to see a lot of heavy hitters. Who are some people that the fans are maybe going to watch in this class other than yourself that they're going to get excited about?
Well, I know that Donald Nelson's bringing at least 1, possibly 2 tractors there.
Sure.
Vert Hoosier.
Yep.
Wayne Sullivan. I think Kyle Pesh is going with the 2 turbines.
So we'll see a lot of the outlaw class, which is going to be fun because we typically hang out west of the river. Now, I know that this year we scheduled a pull over there, 1 or 2 pulls over there in Illinois, but we're going to have some fans that haven't really seen this class before, and I think they're going to like what they see. You really found something in the tractor this last year in 2024. When did you feel that the tractor really locked in and kind of turned the table for you, and you knew that you were on that championship season run?
I think the big change was Bloomfield, Iowa, Mike. We put the Pro Puller whole shots on. We had to put a set of Pro Pullers on, but we put the whole shots on, and those tires completely changed our tractor.
Yep.
I don't know that I knew I was on a championship run at that point, but going to when I left home to go into Lufkin, I thought we had a chance to win it then. Yes, but I wasn't going to count my chickens before that.
When did it? Because see, I thought going into Lufkin, I thought you guys had it wrapped up. At what point? At what point was it wrapped up?
When we showed up at Lufkin.
Okay, so after Lufkin, so then you guys did something kind of neat too. Once you'd had that wrapped up, Saturday night, your dad got to climb back in there and drive, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
When was the last time George has driven the Cotton Candy Modified?
He drove it when it was brand new in 2020 in Wichita Falls, Texas. So it's been 4 years.
What was it like for you sitting over there, championship in your back pocket, 7 wins? I don't remember what it was. It's either 7 or 9 wins on the season. And then watching, I assume you're like everybody else. Your dad's the reason you're in pulling. Watching him getting to get back in the driver's seat. Is that a pretty emotional? Is that a pretty fun experience to watch him?
Very special.
Sure. What did he think of the run when he was done with it?
He wasn't happy with it, but we're going to do it again.
Are you?
Yeah.
He goes, damn it, I interviewed him. He said, I didn't do a good enough job. It was funny.
But not bad for 4 years later, and haven't been on it since. Beyond the Pullers Championship, what are you most?
Where were you in the class? I'm trying to search. Cameron, can you hear me? Where were you in the class?
I'd say I was on the early side, Jason.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you guys won it, if you guys won it, we've got loaded in the back room here, Cameron. We've got your run at Sac City where you blew it out the big end pretty good. If folks wanted to take a look at that one's loaded. If you just want to throw it up there quickly.
That one's fine, Mike. That's fine.
Okay. Yep, I got that, Mike. Thanks.
And this is fun because I want to pick Cameron's brain about what happened at Sac City anyway, because I announced it incorrectly and I still need to go back and fix it. So we'll take a look at that run over here.
All right, here we go. Here's Sac City. Here's Sac City, Mike.
So, folks, in case you're curious, the checkered flag was the leadership flag at the point, and you can see how the entire wagon says goodbye to that. Walk us through a run like that, Cameron. At what point do you know that it's hooked and you're gone?
Oh, probably at 200 foot. I know he was going to go it was going to go way out there. The sled was just a little bit light. So I let off because the blade tractor and the Packer tractor guys were kind of sitting in the middle of that track. I felt like I was going to crowd Tom against those tractors, so I let off. And then Wayne Lonerick ended up beating me that run distance, but they called it a full pull, so Wayne and I chose to just split first and second.
So that's how I announced it, and then when I went back, it looked like, and maybe they just flipped it or whatever. So you could call that one a win for you. You guys both, they actually set a full pull. It was so funny because I just got done. I just finished telling the crowd, hey, to all you old school pullers, pull-offs don't exist anymore. We just run what's called a floating finish. If they can haul it to Mars, they'll haul it to Mars. And then you took it to the unpacked dirt, and then Wayne took it to the unpacked dirt. And then they said, well, we're going to call 370 a full pull. And I had to say, okay, everyone, just kidding. We're gonna have a good old fashioned pull off at this place. But pullers today, and this is worth talking about, pulling a second time is really not something anybody ever wants to do.
Not really.
Yep. Is it just you build so much heat, or it's just too much of a risk, or walk us through the thought process of a puller as to why you kind of avoid that?
Well, nowadays we run them so hard, Mike. They're hot.
Yep.
And we like to be able to check oil filters before we run again.
Yep.
Make sure there's not any major problems. And a long time ago, we didn't even think about that. We just fired and run again. But we would rather run once and go to the trailer.
Sure. And especially in a season like ours with the Outlaws, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you guys, and right there in that Sac City, and if I'm remembering this correctly, that's one of those weeks where we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you're probably running that machine 4 days in a row. And there's no need to push those ponies anymore once they've already hauled the mail out the back door.
Right.
Yep. What are you most looking forward to this season, 2025? You grabbed your first championship in 20 years last year. What, that's got to be feeling good, but you come in with the bullseye on your back. What's your thought process headed into the year this year? What are you focusing on?
Well, we just freshened everything up, Mike, and we're going to make a run at the season, see how we do.
So are you one of those teams that just, as long as everything's happy and healthy and moving, you just kind of let the chips fall where they may? Or do you kind of go through and say, all right, we're going to try to grab a top 5 here, and we're going to try to win this one, and, it's points championships or bust? What's your mindset when you tackle a season?
My mindset is every time we back up to the sled, we're trying to win first.
Sure.
You and I both know it doesn't happen like that, but that's your mindset.
Yep. So with that mindset, what pulls, are there certain places you like to go that when you do walk away with the win, it means, something extra, like, is it winning the Thunderbolt or winning the Rock, or is there just some places that just matter to you? What are some of your favorite places to go grab a victory?
Well, we really like going to White Right, and we're excited about to get to go back. And we like going to DeLeon, like I said earlier. We enjoy going to Rock Valley. It's special to win the Rock. I love winning at Wisner. Well, I've never won the Thunderbolt at Wisner before, ever. We've won a hook, but we've lost a tiebreaker before. So I look forward to trying to get one of those Thunderbolts before it's over.
What would it mean to you? So especially you've talked about running that triple engine setup. I want to tie this back into the Pullers Championship. Running that triple engine setup, something you don't do all season. You're running against the 4 engine mods. It's a big challenge there at the Pullers Championship. This year, you're coming in a little bit more data. You're running against guys you've pulled against. You're running the tractor as it likes to sit. Would a win at the Pullers Championship, would that be kind of an extra special one as well? Would you put that one up in the front of the trophy case?
It would be. That the first one, the front of the trophy case is that second place finish at the farm show last year.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. That was, that was a neat circumstance. There's 2 times that I've been in Freedom Hall where I've heard the entire crowd go dead silent. And the funny part is both people were on the show tonight. It was in 2020 when Stan and Steve, the first year that they recombined the alcohol and the diesels, and Stan and Steve had a shot to win it first year with the diesel, and they ended up blowing the smoke tube off. That place was silent before they pulled with anticipation. And the year that you laid down that monster pass, and I think you held it till, was it the Simons that I think they got you, but were they like the last ones of the class or something like that? And I remember
I think that's right, Mike.
I think they were holding their breath, and it was one of those, you've got the mega giants, the Simons, and you've got the guy all the way from Texas who only straps the third on twice a year. Is he going to get the job done? In that place, you could have heard a pin drop because it was, just the tension was so high. So that one you actually say is that your pride and joy? Is actually, it's a number 2 spot, but that's the one that you're going to look back on most fondly right now.
That and that championship last year was both special.
Let's go way back, 2004. You won a points championship in 2004. Tell us about that season. Was there anything that stood out, or was that your first points championship?
Yes, it was.
So what was that like? Did you have it all year long? Did it come right down to the wire?
No, if I remember correctly, Donald and I tied for points, and we had the same number of first places, and I had one more second place finish than he did.
So you actually went to like the second rung of the tiebreaker.
Yes.
The rule book says, you go points, then you go wins, then you go second places. So that's like double overtime to figure out who wins that as well. What about your 2-wheel drive truck? It does well at the farm show. It does well with the Outlaws every year. Won best appearing in the super modified 2-wheel drive truck class this year. We didn't see Seth at all on it this year. We saw Cameron drive it quite a bit. What's in store for the T-Bucket this year?
Well, we're going to haul it everywhere we go, Mike.
Yep.
I imagine Cameron will drive it majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we hope to improve on our finishes from last year. We found a problem with it. It wasn't running like up to par like we thought it should. So we hope to do a little bit better this year with it.
Do you ever climb in the seat of the 2-wheeler? Is that something you used to do way back, or is that just kind of their thing?
No, it's their thing, but I'm going to drive it in Farley, Iowa.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I knew that or not. So you're not, you kind of said, I don't get to take my mod, but I want to go. So you're going to go throw down up at Farley. When was the last time you were in the seat of a super modified 2-wheel drive?
Oh, I don't know, 5 or 6 years probably.
Tell us about Farley, since you brought it up and since we're here. What would that mean to you, and just what's your overall impression of what's going on up there that the Simons have put together this year?
Well, I think it's a very neat thing they're doing, and it's going to take a tall order to even get past the prelims on your given night you're supposed to run. They're taking 10 per night, and then 1 wild card out of each night. So there'll be 22 running on Saturday night for 50,000.
Well, and you've got 25 it's like 50 total, isn't it? You got 25 on Thursday night, 25 on Friday night. Whoever wins that thing, what a gauntlet, because just to survive like you said, to survive the round of 25 and then to come back out on top, and $50,000. I bet you could find a thing or two on the pulling tractor and the 2-wheel drive truck that you could enjoy having that, wouldn't you?
We could use it.
So No, that is absolutely awesome. So, well, Cameron, we've pushed you right up to the edge of your time right here. Best of luck in your 2025 season. First of all, good luck at the Pullers Championship, folks. If you're thinking about going, be sure to go May 16th and 17th in Nashville, Illinois. Cameron Neaves is going to be representing the cotton candy pulling team there. Is this the third year in a row in Nashville?
Fourth
year in a row. So 4 years in a row. A man who's not afraid to travel and never afraid to represent the Outlaws, in these all-star events. Be sure to come on out, and you'll get to watch this tractor pulling in its true blue setup, something that I think a lot of you guys, if you haven't seen this class, folks, come and watch it. The hot and dirty of it is 2 Hemis, 3 Chevys, or you can run an industrial motor. You might see a DT 466 on alcohol. You might see a V12 turbocharged. You might see some Allisons. It puts a lot of variety back into things. Cameron, who do you need to thank for your success, or just who do you want to give a shout out to before we let you go tonight?
My dad especially, and our whole family, we go a lot. That our family travels a lot to these pulls as a group. And I got the best truck driver in the world. He drives every mile nearly.
Who's that?
Dad does. Dad drives nearly every mile.
Your dad still, so he still just drives the truck everywhere.
About 99.9%.
Is that by his choice, by your choice? Do you wish he would let you drive a little bit more?
Nope. He drives when he wants. And when he's ready to take a nap, I drive.
That's awesome. No, honestly, people, some of the nicest pullers that you'll meet, go talk to the cotton candy pulling team. Pullers love it when you come out and meet them. 2 things that they told me, I talked to your folks and they said 2 things you'll always find in our camp. And that's a Dr. Pepper and a cookie. So you can always come by and they'll talk pulling with you anytime. And you won't meet a nicer gentleman out there than George Neaves, recent Hall of Fame inductee. That was a pretty cool experience, I bet, as well.
It was. It very much was.
Yep. Well, Cameron, big season. Love getting a chance to talk with you. I'm enjoying our phone calls from time to time. It's kind of turning into a tradition. And folks, you'll be hard pressed to meet someone out there who enjoys pulling more than Cameron Neaves. He's going to be at the Pullers Championship. He's going to be at Farley, and he's your defending points champion in the 7,400-pound modified outlaw class. Best of luck this season. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thanks, Cameron.